2018 was no doubt one of the best years for the largest video game publishers. Once again, the video game industry has shown that the press, the community, the developer, and the publisher ecosystem is more supportive and united than ever. As gamers, we love to praise publishers and developers, and usually for very good reasons, but the style of communication is often emotion-based and not always logical. So in this video, I want to tell you the tale of 2018 with proper rationale, sources, and data, sprinkled with some dank memes, so you can better develop your own informed opinions. I've gone through dozens of financial analysis and market research, listened to earning calls with horrible audio, and consulted various industry experts, all to deliver you this knowledge. So sit tight and listen in, my comrades, as we comprehensively explore the truth behind the decision-making of EA, Activision Blizzard, Bethesda, and more that made 2018 the most successful year for AAA gaming. To begin, we must gain a nuanced understanding of the goal of these companies. You might think, well, that's simple. They're here for money. Money. Sure, but not exactly. The goal is to make more money. The keyword here is more. These established companies have already made money. That's why they're worth billions and billions. Each year, their investors and shareholders ask them to make more money for the return on the risk of their investment. This is critical to understand because in order to make more money, these publishers have to focus on growth. So, how do you grow? There are two primary ways. These companies can grow their reach, and they can grow the value from each customer. The reach is the number of people who are able to play your game. Remember this?
Do you guys not have phones?
Yeah, you guys all have phones, right?
This is a reach strategy. There are 2.1 billion smartphones in the world right now, and only 50 million latest generation consoles. Even if 5% of the mobile market downloads Diablo Immortal, it would be considered a wild success. Reach is extremely important to grow in the eyes of tech investors since the incremental cost of production and delivery of another copy of Diablo Immortal is close to zero. Compared to physical products for which each additional unit requires labor and material, software scaling has very little cost. Value, or sometimes referred to as lifetime value, is how much an individual will spend on your company's game in their lifetime. This is constantly changing, but undoubtedly, some consumers will be willing to pay more. Mobile games tell an extreme side of this story, with only 5% of the customers making up most of the revenue for microtransactions. For example, if EA sold a $60 game to April Fool's red shirt guy who is kind of interested in the game versus a $60 game to the original red shirt guy who is the biggest fan of the game and has deep pockets, EA makes the same amount of money, $60. But what if I told you that you could cash in on fandom? And now, we magically grew value per customer. Now that we have established the ways to grow, let's figure out how they are put in action. There are three main strategies that all these clowny publishers share, some more than others. Understanding these are critical in comprehending what happened in 2018 and predicting the future in 2019. While we go through each one, keep in mind the goals of these execs: to grow reach and to grow value. Game as a service, GaaS, is exactly what it sounds like. You can't see it, you can't touch it, but it's still stinky. The idea here is to create a game with a stream of new content over time to keep the players engaged, or as the publishers call it, active. The more engaged and invested the players are, the better the publishers can sell in-game products, increasing the value each player spends on the game. Compared to game as a product, where the publishers make most of the revenue from the initial sale, GaaS opens up an additional and, more importantly, a steadier stream of revenue across time. In return, and in theory, the customer receives value from more frequent updates and content to the game. Massively multiplayer online games were progenitors of this. Even to this day, World of Warcraft needs a monthly subscription for its service, offers a multitude of daily, weekly, and quarterly content updates that keeps the players coming back, and offers a series of in-game service and products that you can purchase. Mobile games are also their own version of GaaS. Time lock mechanics such as daily limits or building time are designed to keep you coming back, especially with the advent of push notifications letting you know each time your stupid farm is complete. Again, the more invested you are, the better their chance of selling you a microtransaction. There are definitely many pros to this model. With Path of Exile, Warframe, and Valve's Dota and CSGO, most of the community finds that there is a fair balance between the free and paid experience. Your $1,000 knife will not help you get better.
Oh, damn, please! He missed.
This is especially true for Warframe and Path of Exile. The developers, Digital Extreme and Grinding Gear Games, are very dedicated to their player base and work with the community to learn what works and what doesn't in their updates and expansions. While gas is an attractive model, with potential to benefit both players and developers, it is tricky to manage and execute, and most importantly requires integrity on the part of the publishers. The lack of consistent and/or engaging content apparent in World of Warcraft Battle for Azeroth, Hearthstone, and Overwatch is reflected in Blizzard's Q4 below average financial and player engagement metrics. On the extreme end, Fallout 69 failed this model entirely by building only the bare minimums of their gas system. Expecting the player base to wait while new content is added and fixed, while charging $60 upfront and offering pricey microtransactions. Recently, EA's heavily marketed Anthem also received criticism for its grindy content, perhaps as a result of its gas-based design. So if you hate this type of model, I'm afraid I have some bad news. The future of gas is still yet to come. We're only in Phase 2 of the EA cinematic universe. Soon, Thanos is coming in the form of Origin Premium. EA is determined to be the next Netflix of gaming by investing in their subscription service. Guess what makes more money than microtransactions? Charging for a service that lets you play a game that is built like a service that has paid services inside of it.
You know what? Is that actually happened? Of course it happened. I think this is.
According to Newzoo, the leading gaming analytics provider, in 2018, the mobile gaming market is worth $70 billion, making up 51% of the whole gaming market. And more importantly, it's growing in the double digits while PC and console markets are stagnant. Mobile is also the key to markets in Asia, like China and India, with total population of 2 billion plus, many owning only smartphones and not PC or console. It only makes sense that all major publishers see this as an opportunity to grow reach. I don't believe that the gaming community absolutely dislikes the mobile scene. There are plenty of creative and non-cash grabby mobile games, and they act as a gateway drug. The main source of dread within the community is that the publishers producing mobile games will overwhelmingly pivot resources from the budget for console and PC titles. Diablo 4 and The Elder Scrolls 6 are both confirmed and in production. If Blizzard and Bethesda are still able to deliver a worthy sequel to their beloved franchise, then they will regain player trust. However, their decision-making so far does not inspire confidence within the community. On a positive note, Nintendo Switch is proving that mobile consoles can be successful and can offer a great experience. The RuneScape mobile port was also very well received by OSRS community while at the same time increasing the game's player reach. Similar to Game as a Service, with the proper balance, both the publisher and player can theoretically benefit, even with mobile. Another strategy that has been employed by EA and Activision Blizzard is the aggressive acquisition of studios.
Tell their client either buys or fucking die!
EA is the biggest culprit with 39 total studio acquisition in its history, including DICE, Bioware, and PopCap, all of which by 2019 are in worse shape than ever. The rationale here is that certain operations such as marketing, sales, development tools, game design, and monetization models can be synergized across studios, leading to more expertise, efficiency, and ultimately, theoretically, better games with further value and reach. However, very evidently, this is easier said than done. The obvious issue with this strategy has to do with the parent company's publishing schedule. When the company's financial performance is the priority, there will be pressure from the parent company to push their studios to release during a certain period of time with consideration to company-wide marketing, distribution, holidays, seasons, and especially in EA's case, the promotion of their subscription-based distribution platform, Origin Premier. Another significant issue that's not often discussed is the game engine. For instance, EA forces each of its studios to use Frostbite, their proprietary engine. Operationally, this makes sense, since there's synergy and scale to be achieved by not only using, but contributing to one singular engine in the company. one engine to rule them all. However, Frostbite was originally built by DICE and was meant for first-person shooter games. This meant that RPG-based games like Mass Effect Andromeda had to sacrifice functionality for EA's company-wide synergy play, and we all know what happened to that game. Blizzard suffers from another angle of this acquisition strategy. King Digital Entertainment, the maker of Candy Crush, makes up a big part of Activision Blizzard since its acquisition in 2015. Activision equally has ambitions of achieving synergy across its three core studios. The mobile revenue model that worked on Candy Crush definitely influenced the game design of Blizzard, under justifications of synergy. I'm sure that to some degree, the ambitious intentions of these companies are aimed at both pleasing investors and creating better games. It's evident that these publishers' management teams do not have the experience nor the expertise to make sure that the value added of synergy translates into better games, or even more profit as the latest financial performances reveal. Parent companies, in theory, can allow studios to focus on their games without worries about funding and business operations, and can share valuable knowledge among its sibling studios. For example, the successful and critically acclaimed studio Naughty Dog, developers of The Last of Us and Uncharted series, is the result of Sony's acquisition and funding since 2001. Similarly, EA's Apex Legends, developed by Respawn, is on track to be more successful than Fortnite and helped gain back investor confidence. Respawn had much more creative freedom as a studio and did not use EA's Frostbite engine. Its success should be a catalyst for EA to rethink about its management of its subsidiary studios. In all three cases, it can be argued that the fallout of the controversies are not entirely due to the strategy, but more so the execution of the strategy. As the game industry grows out of its immature and irresponsible teenage years, lessons will be learned and corrections will be made with serious consequences, as we have already seen in the form of reputation loss, stock tumbles, and employee turnovers. As much as it stings to be a zealous and passionate gamer today, we should remember that we are also an important part of the process of change. Each one of our upvotes, dislikes, and reviews are a squeeze to pop those ugly puberty pimples off the publishers' faces, and on top of their remnant scars, we will establish the legacy that will change the future of gaming for the better. So my comrades, if you found this video useful, I hope that you will spread the knowledge and use it to address future issues with superior logic and greater wisdom. The community is counting on you. I don't even know what I'm saying. Let's just all go play RuneScape.